Okay, so here's something wild. Britain just signed a deal to build three nuclear reactors, and it's the first time in 20 years they've actually committed to building new nuclear infrastructure.
And that's a big headline, but nuclear reactors. I thought Britain was all about wind farms and solar panels these days.
That's the story we've been sold, isn't it? But here's the thing, wind and solar are great, but they're not enough. This deal with Rolls-Royce to build small modular reactors, or SMRs, could be the missing piece in Britain's energy puzzle.
All right, I'm intrigued. Let's break this down. What exactly are SMRs and why is this such a big deal?
So SMRs are essentially smaller, standardized nuclear reactors that can be built in a factory and then shipped to the site for assembly. Think of it like building a car on an assembly line instead of custom building it from scratch. This approach makes them faster to produce, more cost effective, and easier to deploy compared to traditional nuclear plants.
And this is Rolls-Royce we're talking about? The same company that makes luxury cars?
Not quite. Rolls-Royce plc, the engineering company, is separate from the car brand. They've been building nuclear reactors for Royal Navy submarines since the 1960s, so they've got decades of experience with this technology. What they're doing now is adapting that submarine reactor tech for civilian use.
So they're taking something that's been powering submarines underwater for decades and scaling it down for land-based power generation.
Exactly. The technology is proven. It's been running reliably in submarines for over 60 years. What's new is the idea of building these reactors in a factory and using them to supply electricity to the grid.
That sounds like a game changer. But why now? Why is Britain suddenly jumping on the nuclear bandwagon again?
It's all about energy security and meeting future demand. Britain is trying to electrify everything, cars, heating, even industrial processes, but our current energy mix isn't up to the task. About a third of our electricity comes from gas, which we mostly import. Another 15% comes from old nuclear plants that are being decommissioned faster than they're being replaced. Wind and solar are growing, but they're intermittent. You can't rely on them 24/7.
So the idea is that SMRs could provide the reliable, round-the-clock power that wind and solar can't?
Exactly. If we're serious about transitioning to a green economy, we need a stable energy backbone. Nuclear is the only option that can provide that kind of reliability without emitting carbon.
All right, but let's play devil's advocate for a second. SMRs are new, right? What if they don't work as advertised?
That's a fair question, but the underlying technology isn't new. Submarine reactors have been operating safely and reliably for decades. What's new is the factory built approach and the civilian application. And Rolls-Royce has the expertise to pull this off. They've been building nuclear reactors continuously for over 60 years.
Okay, so the tech is solid, but what about the other challenge? Because I'm guessing this isn't going to be smooth sailing.
Oh, there are plenty of challenges. First, the timeline. Even with a factory built approach, the first SMR isn't expected to be operational until the early 2030s.
So we're already behind the curve?
Big time. Then there's the regulatory and planning process in Britain, which is notoriously slow and bureaucratic. Every project faces local opposition, environmental reviews, legal challenges, you name it.
I heard about a guy who spent 2 years just trying to get permission to put solar panels on his roof.
That's Britain in a nutshell. And then there's the workforce issue. Building nuclear reactors requires highly specialized skills, and Britain has been losing that expertise for decades because we stopped building them.
So even if the technology is ready, we might not have enough people to actually build these things.
Exactly. But here's why I'm still optimistic. This isn't just another press release. This is a signed contract with real money on the table. That creates accountability. Rolls-Royce has to deliver, and the government has to clear the way.
All right, so let's bring this back to our listeners. What should they take away from all this?
Three things. First, if you're a business owner, start thinking about your energy strategy now. Energy costs are going to play a huge role in your bottom line over the next decade.
Makes sense. What's the second takeaway?
If you're in construction, engineering, or any industry that touches skilled trades, pay attention to the nuclear renaissance. It's going to be a massive job creator.
And the third?
Don't buy into the idea that wind and solar alone can power the future. They're part of the solution, but they're not the whole solution. Nuclear has to be part of the mix.
Got it. So what's your prediction? When do you think we'll actually see electricity flowing from one of these SMRs?
I'll go on record. First SMR connected to the grid by 2033. And by 2030, we'll see enough progress that it becomes politically impossible to cancel.
Bold prediction. Let's see if you're right.
Time will tell, but for now, let's just appreciate the fact that Britain is finally taking a meaningful step forward on this.
Agreed. And on that note, I think we're out of time.
Thanks for the chat. And hey, if you're listening and you found this interesting, share it with a friend. If you didn't, share it with two.
I like that strategy. Until next time.
Take care. Regards, Spud.